first-hand information of going to startup and VCs from being a computer engineer, right?
I started as a computer science engineer, but I was an entrepreneur my whole life, even as a young kid. After my engineering degree, I started several businesses. I built 7 startups in around 10 years.
How many people are there right now, LPs?
So the total number of people precisely is around 85 people.
And how much have you invested in the last year, if you're open about it?
Yeah, this year, I think we invested around $5 million this year, something like that.
How are you careful nowadays to avoid those situations? Go to the real serious founders.
I'm very lucky that I invest only in YC startups. We talked about that. And so when you're a YC company, you almost have zero incentive to cheat because your downside is that you're going to get caught. But if you're doing things by the book, your upside is unlimited. There's between 6 and 10% of every YC companies that become unicorns.
You made like $1 million revenue with 0 employees. Is that correct? Or what was that?
Yeah, like the first thing we're looking for as VCs is revenue growth, almost at all costs. But of course, at the end of the day, you want a business that's capable of actually making money. And so you want a model that's profitable. So yeah, I bootstrapped a business to 1 million ARR with 0 co-founder, which was not by choice. I wish I had a co-founder, but I found no one and run with it. 0 employees and before AI.
You also get scouts and supporters for you from the startups you're funded. Like I see a lot of startups themselves, they support you. They give you more visibility. Are you also on that path, or you want to be alone, you want to build that brand yourself first without any partnership?
No, we're not alone. I started this fund alone 2.5 years ago, but now I've built a team and the team is growing. So we have more and more people.
Which is the best trait of a founder that you bet on, except obviously the product, the innovation capability? What is that in the founder you see?
Grit and resourcefulness.
Hey, hi Gabriel, how are you? Nice background.
Thank you. Yeah, hi. I'm great. How are you?
Yeah, doing well. I saw like we were just chatting before this. This is awesome. Like having you, a founder who has exited so many companies and having real like first-hand information of going to startup and VCs, right? From being a computer engineer, right? I mean, really awesome. I'm also a technologist. You are a technologist. Let's have some fun and
Yay.
starting. Yeah, I just want to start with your background. Like, how did you come to VCs and what was your background in investing before this, or it is the first time and you were like kind of, I saw your background is awesome. You have exited, you have had successes, failure. You can tell that. How did you come to Lobster Capital? What was the intent to start
Well,
with?
yeah. I mean, thanks for having me. Let's have fun and welcome to everyone else tuning in. So, as you've mentioned, my name is Gabriel and I started as a computer science engineer, but I was an entrepreneur my whole life, even as a young kid. And so, after my engineering degree, I started several businesses. I built 7 startups in around 10 years.
Wow.
I sold 3, very fortunate there, but I also failed 4 if you count, and lots of learnings there of what works and what doesn't. But that gave me an appreciation of what makes a startup succeed. I had my own idea after doing it so many times. And so that's how I started investing in 2013. So already 13 years ago now, started investing and with exit money, money that I made and in startups, looking at my own experience and what others were doing better than me, and this did quite well. My angel investing did well. This led me to starting an SPV business where I would share my deals with other people and what's called an angel syndicate. I would just share my deals and other people would invest with me.
Okay.
This did really well also, which then finally led me to start Lobster Capital, which is a VC fund that I run based in Silicon Valley. And we only invest in startups from Y Combinator and we back the top 2% of each YC batch.
Okay, let's stop you there. That's an interesting point. I mean, I was just seeing your mention of that in your profile itself. Like I only invest in top 2% of YC companies. With YC is itself, then you, I mean, not controversial, but is that your
It is
really
a little bit.
thesis, or you it's just your flagship thesis? You can also deviate from that, but you tend to go towards that.
No, that's our strict Thesis. We only invest in YC startups. That's what we tell our investors, our LPs. And so we can't deviate for that. Our investors gave us money for that specific purpose. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so that's written there. Like only YC companies is the entrance criteria, then you
Yeah,
select.
I always joke that I can make an exception for Elon Musk's next startup. Like if Elon comes to me and says, "Hey, I'm building the new," I will make an exception. But other than that, no exception. YC only.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's a good point. So just the thesis of that, if you can start like, so when what was the thesis like? How did you start Lobster Capital? Like, was it with your own funding? You would have started with your own, and you got some LPs around. Was it a trigger after you exited your own startup, or what was the initial capital? If you're open around it, what is the
Yeah,
capital
I'm very happy to
allocation stuff for people?
explain all of that. So I started as an angel, then built SPVs, and then built the fund. So that's the story. So um, with SP as an angel, because I was doing well, some people around me started to ask, "Hey, I've seen you've invested in this deal. Can you share it with me next time? I would like. I also have a little bit of money. I would like to invest." So those were friends, acquaintances, family members sometimes, and so that's how in 2017 I said, "Okay, I'll pool people together, and we can put money into a deal together." And so that's how I got started. And again, this did quite well between 2017 and 2023. 900 people invested with me in total, and we invested $36 million just from me sharing deals. And so when I decided to start Lobster Capital in 2023, I went back to those people, and those were the first I offered to come into my fund. So to answer your question, I'm myself obviously an investor in my own fund, Lobster Capital, but I'm not the only one. It's not only my capital. I have investors or LPs, and so yeah, the very first few people that came into the first fund were people that were already investing with me in the past on a deal by deal basis that did well, or that were happy with the investments. And I told them, okay, do you want to sort of graduate into a fund? And for them, it's easier. Instead of doing deal by deal, they just put into a fund. For me, it's easier as well, instead of having to raise every deal. So funds are a much better model for everyone, I think. So those were the initial, investors in the fund, and then the fund outgrew just that community, and now
Yeah.
it's a lot of different investors from all around the world.
Got it, got it. I mean, just to review like what you said. So you were angel investing before in individual deal capacities, and there were people who were tied up with you, and you got together as a core team initially, and you got other people in to start
Yeah.
Lobster Capital. How many people are there right now, LPs, and how much have you invested in the last year, if you're open about it? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very happy to say. So, we raised our first fund in 2023 and closed it in at the end of 2024.
yeah,
We targeted to raise an $8 million fund. We ended up raising 12 million fund, so we're very much oversubscribed. And so the total number of people is around 85. Like it's either 84 or 86. I don't remember precisely, but it's around 85 people for those 12 million.
okay,
Um, and then you ask me how much we've invested this year. So
yeah.
we're at the end of 2025, and so the fund was invested a little bit in 2023, but mostly in 2024 and 2025, and it's going to be done at the end of the year, the first fund. And so now we're raising a second fund. But so this year we probably, I think I know that number. I think we invested around $5 million this year, something like this.
Awesome. And that those are good numbers. Thanks for being open about it. And the future, how obviously that will grow with your brand, right? So what do you think? Like, say, YC is a brand. A lot of people come to them, right? That's where they pull the top companies. But there's some restriction. I heard restriction about immigrants starting up, or there are specific funds who mainly back immigrants. There are other funds who don't even touch immigrants. They say, okay, there are a lot of hassles, we don't want to go that route. But a lot of immigrants have started companies, like 40% of.
Many. And so YC has a lot of immigrants, founders, founding companies there.
Yeah,
Actually, YC is so prestigious
yeah,
that when you're an immigrant and you make it into YC, YC now is in person in San Francisco, so you have to come to the US,
Yeah.
to San Francisco for the batch. The batch is 3 months, and so
Yeah.
usually people come for 3 months on a tourist visa or visiting visa, or maybe it's a short business visa.
Yes.
But then just the fact that you've been accepted into YC usually qualifies you. I don't want to say automatically because it's not the case. It's not automatic, but like, let's say, quite easily to actually get a long term visa in the US. So if you're a foreigner, you've never been to the US, you get accepted into YC, there's like a 90% chance or even more that you're
Yeah.
gonna be permanent resident in the US and just keep building your company in San Francisco. So that's actually a really good thing for immigrants. There's a lot of them. As long as it's a product built for the US market or for a global market, and that has a link with the US, and that you're willing to come for 3 months. So, and yeah, we've invested in a lot of founders who did not grow up in the US, but
Got it.
then now are in SF building.
Awesome. Awesome. No, what I was telling, that's a good point. But lately I heard, I may not be true, YC has some principles not to invest. No, I
What
don't
you
know.
maybe
Maybe
no,
wrong.
maybe what you heard about, which is true, is between 2020 and 2022, YC, because of COVID, went fully remote. And so during the remote time, they would accept companies into the batch that were building for local markets abroad, especially in Mexico, in India, in Nigeria, for example, but in other, places in Asia, in Africa, and in Latin America. And so you could be a team from Colombia or from Vietnam building for the Colombian market or for the Vietnamese market, and you could be a YC startup. Today, that doesn't exist anymore. They want you to come build a US company in the US for the US market. Then you could, sometimes there's exceptions. It could be a global company, including the US and the rest, but very rarely now is going to be just a company just for a specific country. So that's, I think, probably what you're referring to. But
Awesome.
if you're building for the US market, a US startup, you can be from anywhere. I guess
Okay.
maybe it's probably harder if you're from Russia right now, probably, like, or North Korea, like, blacklisted countries. But
Okay.
other than that, if you're building for the US market, the YC doesn't care if you're an immigrant or if you're a foreigner.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there are some, I don't know, some, what do you say, rumor around it. But that's good to know because you yourself, I believe you are from France, who
I
has
am an
come.
immigrant, exactly. Yeah.
What was your experience? That's why I was coming to that topic. Did you get funding from YC or how did you get attached to YC companies first shortlisting? I mean, is that due to the reputation? Like, what kind of attachment you had to YC?
Yeah. So I did not go through YC, and it was a very big disadvantage at the beginning because I was a big outsider to the community. YC is a very tight community. People know each other. Um, they spend a lot of time together, and so being an outsider, you're an outsider. You know no one, and no one lets you in, and it's tough.
Yeah.
That was difficult at the beginning, and so I turned this weakness into a strength
Hmm.
because I was an outsider. I had to try 10 times harder than everyone else to actually get in. For alumni who went through YC before, it's just so easy. They just know everyone. It's zero effort. They just show up and it's their friends and their. For me, it's much harder because I'm not from there. I had to, you know, um, I had to actually like make my way, build my way into it. So today it's a strength because it means I try 10 times harder, network more than everyone else because I have to. And I've also built an online presence. Lobster Capital is a VC fund, but we're also a big media company now under the VC umbrella. And
Awesome.
people just know me from online now. People are like, hey, I saw you on YouTube, I saw you on X, I saw you on LinkedIn, etc., etc. Um, so that,
Yeah, let me stop it there. The media point, so that because we just want to focus, make it since we have limited time today. So the media is an awesome thing. Like because I'm just grabbing from your answers, that how did you, because I also have that philosophy, because if you are the media yourself, that is much better than someone else or a big company with a paid media. Say we are doing it free, correct? But a paid media will come, say Reuters, somebody. That's a paid media. I mean, if you pay to anyone, anybody will do that. That's not bringing your brand. But if just like we are doing right now, so if you are a media, what is the advantage? How did you start? Is it legally under Lobster, or is just a pro bono only for Lobster, a kind of free media company?
No, no, it's legally under the Lobster umbrella. So right, so everything that we do belongs to Lobster Capital, and yeah, I mean, attention is. I don't want to say attention is everything, but attention is almost everything. We live in a world where people spend their entire times on their phones, scrolling TikTok, and if that's I mean that's the power of YC. People know YC because they're also a very big media brand as well. Um, so that's what we're trying to build. And then when you're top of mind, when you're front and center, people know you, people remember you, and putting yourself out there has so much unexpected, unattended, unexpected positive externalities. People just know you. People remember. I was in a meeting just before this, and I show up to the meeting, and this person says, "Hey, I just saw your video. It's awesome." And like,
Hmm.
just people see your face, remember you, and then the content works for you forever. It's there, and now people are going to see the videos for months and years to come. Uh,
Right.
content is just a superpower. Now, a lot of people understand that, but they don't know how to make content. It's tough, by the way, to make great content to have views. It's really difficult.
Right.
I'm social media native. I've been on social media
Hmm.
since 2007, I believe, and active, every week or every day
Yeah.
on a lot of different social media channels. I've been on YouTube since 2017. So it's been 8 years I'm publishing videos on YouTube. Like in French at the time. But anyway, I have the experience. I know how to do that. So yeah, and
That was the reason you had a media channel, just like the YC has a their own channel, so
exactly.
you want to follow that. But that's a great point, and the point that you said, content creators, everybody should be a content creator. A lot of people say because
I
that's
agree.
brand. Even if you're I mean, a lot of product managers doing podcasts, a lot of, I think engineering side is still a little slow, but people who are more customer facing and even startup founders, that's the valuation trigger, I believe, because you are cutting your marketing cost by 50%, plus you're helping each other. You need not get money out of that. It's you are up in the public. Just you said you are a natural content creator. You have been doing it from 2007. That's your 50% strength apart from your engineering skill, which is anyway there. I mean, that's there in the degree,
Yeah,
right?
if you can build and if you can sell, you're unstoppable. And some people just can sell or just can build, but people don't realize.
Yeah.
Like I talk to so many people about content, and people think it's this impossible mountain to climb. People think it's so difficult, and they see the fancy mic, and they're like, "Oh, I don't have a fancy mic. I can do it." Like this is for people who've been doing it for a long time. But like when you get started, you just need this. Like,
Yeah. Right.
you just be like, "Hey guys, like this is Gabriel from Lobster Capital, and today I want to tell you blah blah blah," and that's it. And you just upload it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's all you need. Like everyone has that, everyone.
Yes.
So that's it. And and then people are like, "Oh, but what would I say? I don't know how to behave in front of a camera." And yeah, of course, it is awkward the first few times. It is for me as well, for everyone. But it's only
Yeah.
the first, I don't know, 10 times, and then you get the hang of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Everyone should be a content creator.
And so, Gabriel, coming to that, we have limited time as, say, founders and people are founding their lab, working already so hard. So, do you think content should be a definite part of the responsibility? Somebody said, like, content is gold, but distribution is king. You can do content, but
Yeah, that's true.
right? Who's seeing it? I think the perplexity also runs in that. The CEO is no more building any product. I mean, the product is built. After that, as a CEO, your 95% job is to distribute that, do alliance, do partnership, talk with VCs, talk with 20 different VCs. VCs talk with each other, right? I mean, that's the distribution game. What is that? How do you? see that distribution in YouTube or become a big, I mean, everybody cannot speak or present properly in a podcast, maybe that's okay. But still, who are even not even native speakers, you need not be, right? Say you are from France. I've been to France. I had difficult time. Initially, I went, okay, people are having difficult time to talk in English, but you really speak good. So how does that distribution happen? Like, what is the secret behind that? How does someone who is non-native speaker crack that and distribute their content everywhere?
I mean, first of all, I started in YouTube in 2017, like I said, but I started in French. And so today, obviously, I think that's a big mistake because I published on YouTube in French from 2017 to 2023 or even 2024. I
Okay.
published more than 1,000 videos. I got tens of thousands of followers in French, and all of
Okay.
that is useless. So
Oh,
you're right. Being non-native is a disadvantage because if I had started in English from the beginning today, my channel would be a
exactly.
hundred times bigger, 1,000 times bigger. And then there's the sunk cost fallacy. For a
Okay.
long time, I was like, oh, but I already have all of those followers in French. Should I really? And then finally, I decided to jump ship and start in English. But it took me a long, 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 long time. Um,
Okay.
of course, you have to actually speak the language. I mean, I don't believe that's too hard, especially when you live into like I live in SF now. So you know,
Mhm.
but even from home, you should be, like that's probably the first test. Like if you're not able to learn a language and
Yeah.
speak it correctly, maybe that's the first test for everyone.
Absolutely.
Um, but then yeah, distribution is key. Uh, Here, I really believe that quantity matters. People also sort of stop themselves because they don't want to publish something unless it's like Hollywood grade, like amazing thing. And I think you should be just like I showed with the phone. You should just be able to take your phone,
Yeah.
shoot a thing and just publish it like this. So
Okay.
and then, but I think it's obviously it's better if it's also Hollywood quality. Like if you have a team of 10 people
We'll make it
editing for
Hollywood
you.
quality now. Don't worry. After this is done, we'll make it a Hollywood quality for sure.
Exactly, perfect. Let's do it with
That's
special
editing.
effects stuff,
Mode.
right? But
Yeah.
but but if you have to choose between like one video per month with
Mhm.
amazing editing or one video per day from your phone in your pocket, I would
Yeah.
probably go with one video per day. So I believe on distribution, like because you learn so much faster. You're gonna talk about a lot more stuff, see what works, see what doesn't, and so that's one interesting thing. But yeah, also I see a lot of VCs. They all have their podcast, but every episode gets 20 people to listen to it, and that's it. And so I guess it's a number of things. You have to promote it to your community and cross promote it. If you just publish it but you don't promote it in your email list or in
That is
your
important.
social net in your social media accounts or whatever. But then you also have to talk about some interesting stuff. People should show up to a
Right.
podcast and they talk about stuff that no one really cares about. So why would I listen to that?
That's what we talked. That's what I tell a lot of my guests also. They are like so much experience. I talked to the guest who's the startup founder. She talked really nice. But some people, I mean, there is no fault, true or I mean, false here. But yeah, they are not very open, which is very very important. That's why I go to VCs and founders nowadays because at least you guys have I mean, stuff to tell. So with that, I want to make this interesting. Tell me openly. Somebody uh, did give false information to you when you are funding? Did somebody were you cheated in some case?
Yeah.
False information in the sense they have bad agenda or something like that. I mean, you were trapped or something. I mean, a lot of people think like that when things doesn't go right. But was it really few cases you can give where okay, and how are you careful nowadays to avoid those situations? Go to the real serious founders.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm very lucky that I invest only in YC startups. We talked about that, and so in YC, it very rarely, or I think almost never happens. YC is a very specific community. It's very very honest and kind of a pay it forward mentality. And when you're a YC company, you
Yeah.
almost have zero incentive to cheat because your downside is that gonna get caught. But if you're doing things by the book, your upside is unlimited. There's between 6 and 10% of every YC companies that become unicorns. So your incentives to cheat and to sort of deprive you from that is you would
Yeah.
be very very stupid to do that. It's just better to tell the truth. So
Correct.
within YC, there's very 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 few, if not zero, bad actors, people of bad faith, people who lie. Now that being said,
Hmm.
there's another thing that startups will do, including YC startups, which
Yeah.
is lying by omission or burying the truth. So, you could say only the good things. Hey, we're growing very quickly. We're doing 1 million in revenue. But then
Hmm.
you don't say, actually, we're burning 2 million to make
Hmm.
that 1 million. So we're losing 1 million. But you just don't say the second part. You just say, hey, we're making 1 million. And like that might sound amazing. You're like, wow, what is this startup doing 1 million? But well, actually, if you're losing 1 million, it's easy to make one. So that is not necessarily like it's not necessarily with bad intentions from the founders. They're just going to tell you the good things, and they're not going to shed a spotlight on the bad things. But so it's your job as a VC to sort of scratch under the surface and be like, okay, let me dig and dive deeper, etc. But then before YC or outside of YC, now I do YC only, but it was not always the case. Yes, there's some
Yeah.
people who are just dishonest,
Hmm.
some very big red flags, some people where you realize, I'm an engineer and I'm an investor, so numbers are relatively easy for me. I can count, I can multiply, divide, subtract, even
Yeah.
very large numbers, and I can,
Yeah.
when you're on a Zoom meeting, you can just do them with a
Hmm.
calculator as well. So sometimes
Hmm.
I'll ask a bunch of numbers, and then I realize the founder told me things that don't add up, don't match. I'm like, wait a minute, if you're spending this and costing this and blah blah, like, why is this number? And then you realize. So,
Yeah.
and then there's two cases.
Yeah.
Many times it's an honest mistake. It's like, oh yeah, no, actually, and he knows exactly. But sometimes they're like, oh well, I don't know, like, and you realize they were just lying to you and try to, get one over you.
Hmm.
Sorry. So, that happens, and that's of course a big red flag. When that happens, you just don't want to invest. But again, very very fortunate to be in the YC community. This almost never happens, like really dishonest, just people trying to pretend. But you got to be careful for that as well.
And yeah, and most of the founders are serious, right? I mean, they don't want to put their career in. I mean, they have left everything to do something that they don't want to cheat because that will flow right to the next item, right? Unless, yeah, and
YC
then
is also a very small community, and Silicon Valley is a small world. Everyone
yes.
knows each other, so if you get this bad reputation, that's going to be a problem that's going to follow you around for a long time. Yeah.
But some people do it for media sake. They think, okay, bad publicity is also media, right? Something comes in media, I lose 500K, but I get a media worth $100 million, right? A lot of
Yeah.
people knowingly create controversy. You would have seen that.
It
No,
could
what about
be.
that?
I yeah. I published a video on my YouTube channel about Cluely and the Cluely founders, and
Right,
yeah,
right,
that's a
right.
good example of any
Yeah,
press is good press. That's what they think. It's both true and false. So it's true because we're talking about them right now, and a lot of people are talking about them, but there's also a lot of they created almost some enemies of people who really hate them, which I'm not
mm,
one of them, by the way, but some people really hate them because of what they
mm,
did. So I'm not sure every press is good press. It's somehow both true and false at the same time.
got it. Okay, let's divert from that topic to your investment thesis. Since you said about 1 million burning 2 million, right? That's a very good point. So the burn is always there, like OpenAI, a lot of companies are burning, and main thing is the spread, the footprint, and the yeah, because you can always flip that game by making little adjustment. But first point is to make revenue grow, and that's why you are going for VC funding, because you might be in a loss for the first 1 or 2 year also. You might not be in revenue positive. But I saw an interesting point in your career. I was just going through LinkedIn. I saw like you made like $1 million revenue with zero employees. Is that correct? Or what was that?
Yeah.
Like how is that
Well,
possible?
yeah. So uh, the first thing we're looking for as VCs is revenue growth,
Hmm.
um, almost at all cost. But of course, at the end of the day, you want a business that's capable of actually making money. And so you want a model that allows that's profitable. If it's so that's
Hmm.
typically something we dive in with the founders is, are you making money today? Yes, no. Most often it's no. But can you make money in the future? When and how? And is the model profitable? Like why are you losing? So sometimes the model is like, hey, we'll never make money or we'll always make a maximum 5% margin. And so, I mean, maybe it's still a great business to invest into for other reasons, but like you got to know how much money this business is able to generate. And so, yeah, this has been
Yeah.
uh, very relevant to me. So, yeah, I bootstrapped a business to 1 million AR with zero co-founder,
Yeah.
which was not by choice. I wish I had a co-founder, but I found no one and ran with it. Zero employees, and before AI. So, today you have agents who can do stuff for you. But so how I did that was a lot of things, a lot of automation from computer programs. They're not AI, but just still automation.
Hmm.
Um, some freelancers for the stuff that I couldn't automate at all. And
Hmm.
then having some of the work done by my customers instead of me doing everything. I would say, hey, this part you're going to do yourself. Just like IKEA says, hey, we're going to give you cheap furniture, but you're going to build it yourself.
Yeah.
And but that was great because then I was doing a million, and then the profit from that was like 800K, and I
Wow.
that felt really good, obviously. But more importantly, when I was talking to other people around me, friends, entrepreneurs,
Wait, once again, 800K was a profit in million. I mean, you had a 80% margin, you mean to say, or I mean, it's
yeah,
not.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
what was
yeah.
that? What kind of business? Can
It was
you?
I was selling a subscription, so the cost was nothing.
Oh, subscription. Okay.
Yeah. So um, I realized that there were some people who raised entrepreneurs who raised like tens of millions, who had teams of like 50 people, and they were doing maybe like 20, 30, $50 million in revenue,
Hmm.
but then the margin was smaller than mine. I remember a friend, very successful guy, and he was like, this year you're going to make 800K. I say yes. And he was like, you're making more than me. And I said, how is this possible? You just raised 12 million and you have like 35 employees. And he's like, yep, we're not going to make 800K this year. And so that's when it hit me. I was like, revenue is awesome, but the
Okay.
margin is everything. So yeah, it's been tattooed on me,
Okay.
figuratively. I don't actually have that tattooed, but like margin matters more than revenue. And yeah, I was fortunate enough to live it. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. And maybe other people have different opinions, as you see, right? The depends on the
What's
food.
what's interesting, sorry to interrupt you, is yeah, I mean, sometimes you're right. Sometimes what you want to do is you want to take that 800K and reinvest it in the business to grow as fast as possible. That's the model of Silicon Valley.
Right.
So how do you
In,
get from 1 million to 10 million to 100 million to a billion?
right. Yeah, I understand what you're saying now. You see, like per economic unit economics is important for margin.
Exactly.
You need not have that margin, keep it in your pocket and not grow. You have to invest back in your growth. So then it can be net. Also, it can be negative
Exactly.
whole, but the per unit economic, you should not lose. That's what I want to say.
That's what it is. I agree. That's exactly it.
A lot of founders, especially those who are bootstrapped, there is no other choice. I mean, because also you can't.
Exactly. That's true. No other choice.
Okay, let's go to some other topics, Gabriel. Like, how did you come to US? Maybe that's the story. A lot of people, we are already talking. A lot of people came to invest in a business visa. Like, I'm in US from 10 years and like 20 years. I started 2008. I was in US first time. So a lot of people just come to in business visa and they could start by doing. I mean, I don't know what is the legality around it. They could do conferences and they could just build a company out of it. That's really tremendous. And especially you also come from France. Were you working here or you directly What was your journey is, and what do you suggest to others?
Yeah, I mean, I won't go as far as suggesting anything to others because I'm not a visa professional and I've learned how difficult it is.
Mm-hmm.
My journey was I started working with the US and investing in the US from abroad, from France. So when I started doing
Mm-hmm.
SPVs,
Right.
I did them originally with investing in French or European startups, but then very quickly moved to investing in US startups. So I've been investing in US startups for a while, and had a presence there, several entities in the US, LLCs for managing those investments, etc. And
Okay.
so when I decided to go on my visa journey, I got advice from specialists. So again, I'm not a specialist at all.
Mhm.
Ultimately, for me, there were two routes that I could consider. The one was the E2 visa, which is the investor visa, and the other
Okay.
one was the O1 visa, which is the exceptional ability visa, which is
Mhm.
the visa that most YC founders do, the foreigners. So that's what I went for. But again, I wouldn't advise anyone for it or against it because it's not I'm really not a professional, and
Right.
it's complex as you probably know.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, those visas are a little bit. You have to prove a lot of stuff. I was just meaning like, did you come? You got a great funding and you come, or like there are people who can invest 1 million, like Elon Musk did, right? And you have a funding, obviously, you can do that. You don't need to do any kind of. I mean, that's also a visa, but that's there's no eligibility for that. It's a money game after that.
Yeah, and there's going to be maybe the new golden visa as well, which is apparently 5 million that you can just buy the visa.
Mm.
Um, yeah, that was not my case,
Mm.
but it exists as well. And yeah, I mean, I think this is also a test. When I said like, oh, if you're not even able to learn English to create content, like that's the first test. Getting to the US is another kind of test. It's honestly harder. It's not easy, but it's another test as well of like, can you figure out the system of how to come here legally? Obviously, it's going to be harder and harder to come here illegally with AI and even just crack down on immigration. So you should just come here legally, obviously. But yeah, can you
Mm.
figure out a system? And it's not easy, but I think
Yeah.
if you're motivated enough, it's doable. And it could be if there's really no other solution and no other route, it could be just a money thing. Be like, okay, I'll just have to figure out business to make enough money to just buy it. Maybe that's the solution.
Yeah, okay, yeah. If you have the money, I mean, people give loan. That's you already proven there. You are not saying a potential because you have done it kind of as you see numbers. You're saying while investing similar to that. Maybe they have that rule due to that. That person is committed to spend this much in US and he's obviously making that much. So he obviously has that skill set or capability. End of the day, it's a capitalist economy. So. But yeah, why I was saying that a lot of people struggle, especially from outside, and they have a dream. A lot of people say in America you can do a lot of good stuff. People are open, businesses are advanced. Everything, especially in SF, all the new. Say I went to East Coast recently, and I mean, there's a big gap in the way the vibe is. Even AI is new if you go to places in the East, but it's SF. Everything is like AI agents. Okay, I'm writing a book recently in AI agents. A lot of people started writing books, and that's still an innovative, technology, not even taught in universities or anything. People are learning it on the fly and starting companies, and 60 to 70% of companies are on AI and agentic AI recently, and that's the innovation, hub US and Silicon Valley is known for, right? I mean, what is the
It
point of?
is. It is. And, living in SF and especially doing the job that I do, it's not only being in SF because, some people in SF are just, you know, bakers or nurses, which there's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that, but you don't see the innovation as much. But yeah, investing in the best YC companies, like my investors very often, when I tell them what I see, what I invest into, they just tell me you're living in the future because I see the new technologies being built that are going to shape the world, and it's like being looking at the very first. internet startups in 1996, 1997, like way before the bubble, the crack, the boom, etc. Just looking at the very first websites and figuring out, imagining how it's going to change the world. That's how I feel very often with AI, but not only AI, with new technologies like semiconductors, robotics, space tech. It's fascinating. I mean, I'm passionate about it, so I love it.
No, no, awesome, awesome. Yeah, you told the right point. Because I feel different when I, even if I come to Seattle, nothing can match the Silicon Valley, and that's why you are in the right place. So then let's go to the some important, interesting topic about your personal investment journey. What has been your most successful investment experience till now? It can be due to revenue or due to a founder or something being a lucky luck factor, or plus also tell me a unsuccessful or a failure or somewhere you lost the investment or you are sure you'll lose it. But that's okay. That's the probability game investors play anyway. I mean, that's investment at risk, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, playing this game for so long, you have big wins and big losses.
Right.
So you ask me about the big wins, like I have many, um, including, you know, I have in my portfolio two unicorns that I invested in at seed. So if you invest in the seed round, the company is just, you know, the two founders, and today they're unicorns with hundreds and hundreds of employees and either hundreds of millions or billions of dollars in revenue. Like they're just massive, and so financially your stake is just so much bigger. It's huge. It's on paper for both of them because they haven't exited yet. So you know it's paper money, but it should do quite well. And we actually have a lot of others that are what I call soonicorns. So they're not unicorns yet, but they're on their way. And we have some of them very going there very fast, who should be unicorns in the next few months,
A
maybe in the
good
next
term.
few years.
What did you say? Sunicorn.
Soonicorns.
Soon getting unicorns,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Soon
That's
unicorns.
something you
Soonicorns.
coined or is there?
It's not from me, but yeah, I don't. There's a lot of I don't know a lot of people using it. I
Is
use
it?
it.
I
Soonicorns.
don't.
I don't know.
Awesome. That's a good.
So yeah. There's a lot of wins, and there's a lot of wins today, but there's going to be many
Hmm.
more in the future because I've invested in more than 100 YC companies, and so many of them are just building and growing very quickly. So anyway, and then so many good investments, but it's not only financial, by the way. It's
Hmm.
also the people you meet or the technology. Sometimes it's just either so fascinating and interesting what they're building, or just so transformative and just helping people, saving lives, stuff like that. So that's really cool as well. Um, and then
You
big
lost
misses.
money somewhere. You want to be open about it? Really? Are you, have you lost or
Yeah.
you might lose is what you're
No. Yeah. That's where I was
not
going. Like on the
okay.
negative, on the lost,
Hmm.
same thing. Like you do this for a long time. You have many wins, you
Correct.
have many losses as well, and it's part of the game. And so what's the beauty of this is when you lose one time your money. When you win 100 times or 1,000 times your money. So you lose many times, you win many times, but overall you make a lot of money because, again, repeating for your audience, when you lose one time, but when
Right.
you win 100 times or 1,000 times. So I'll share two big losses. One was an investment that I had the opportunity to do in France in 2018, and I said no to. And this became one of the biggest French unicorns, valued at $9 billion, a company called So Rare. And so my investment would have been worth 200 million, more than $200 million. And I
Okay.
just said no. And so I virtually lost $200 million. Of course, it was
Right.
not in my bank account to lose from the first place, but if I had said yes, I
Okay.
would have been $200 million richer. I would have
Mhm.
had at that point. So that's um, one of my biggest myths. And again, you make
Wrong
this,
decision. Maybe a
yeah.
miss. That happens. Yeah.
It happens, and you make these. You play this game long enough, you're gonna have a lot of them. Another one is a company that I invested in, I think 5 times. That it was a seed round, and they're doing well. So they did a seed extension, and they kept crushing it. So they did a Series A, we invested, and then a Series A extension, and then a Series B. And every time we invested, and the company was going like this. It was a rocket. It was at the time my very best investment. So I kept piling more and more and more money. By the way, it was through SPVs, not with a fund. A fund is more disciplined, and so in Lobster Capital, we just invest once, and we have some reserve for follow-ons for Series A. but like we won't invest 5 times in the same company from the same fund, for example. But here we invested 5 times with 5 different SPVs. The company was insane. All of everyone thought we were going to be rich. It's going to be a huge exit.
Hmm.
Suddenly, in a matter of a few days, when the 2022 startup bubble popped, when SVB went down and interest
Okay.
rates went up, etc. It was a big, and all the stock market, all the tech companies went down a lot in the stock market.
Yeah.
The company went bust in a matter of days. Literally in a few days, the company went to zero. And so, to be fair, the company still exists today, but it's a zombie company. It's very very likely to never recover. Like I think it's like less than 1% chance that it recovers, but 99% it won't ever recover. So we invested a lot, and all of that money is lost and gone. So again, that's part of it. The mistake here is probably to just have had reinvested too many times, but that's what we do with you. That's what you do with your winners. The company was such growing
Yeah,
just
yeah.
so quickly. So
That was
big
external
failure.
factors, right? I mean, and that's a risk you're saying any business has external factor policies. You cannot control that. You can work hard, you can have have I mean, strategy, but yeah, I mean that is part and parcel, as you said, for any startup founder. He's also taking a risk. You guys are taking more risk because you are not even involved in the business.
That's true. Yeah. So it happens again if you diversify, if you build a portfolio, you're going to be fine. Some you lose, some you win, and when you win more. So it is a very lucrative business, but you have to be able to take that kind of thing. And it's of course it doesn't feel really good when that happens to you.
And what has been your learning, Gabriel? So I just wanted to go to those interesting factors. Why? Because due to limited time. What has been your learning? Why not take a risk? I mean, why just invest on 2% of YC founders? Because the upside is also limited because they have already got funded, right? The initial valuation is done. If you do, you won't get that much upside. But
I don't
if you,
believe so. So I understand your question on risk, and I'm happy to answer it. It's a great question but
yeah,
on the upside being capped, I don't believe that's true. I believe in YC today, there's companies that could be worth hundreds of billions of dollars, if not thousands of billions of dollars. And
hmm,
remember, because of inflation and money printing,
yeah,
values of companies overall just go up just naturally. So there used to be $0 trillion companies, and now there's four. But I can assure you that in 10 years there's going to be hundreds of them. And so the upside is just huge. Now I understand your question of why not take bigger risks, because like top 2% of YC companies is already a sure thing, and I hear you, and in a sense, I agree. First of all, it's never a sure thing. VC is still very risky. So if
it's still it.
we can try to bring the risk down by saying, "Hey, we're going to invest in a sure thing." Our investors love that. It's still risky. Like some of our investments are still going to go to zero, even with the top 2% of YC, because life happens and stuff happens, and you can't predict the future. So
Right.
we're trying to bring down risk and keep maximum upside. But also, like, Lobster Capital is a new firm. I started in 2023.
Okay.
I'm still an entrepreneur at heart. So
Okay.
many investors just raise a fund and relax. I don't
Hmm.
relax. That's why I'm building a media brand. We talked about that. And so
Okay.
I want to build Lobster Capital to being one of the biggest names in Silicon Valley, one of the biggest funds, like one of the most renowned. And there's many, many things I want to do. And so
Okay.
to do that, I have to give exceptional returns to my investors. I have to be one of the best investors so that people say, we should
Yeah.
give more money to Gabriel, because the more we give him, the more he makes us. That's
Yes.
at the end of the day, that's what an investor is. That's my only role, is to make the most money possible to my investors.
No,
So
I got the risk is minimum, so and the upside is always there. So you have that philosophy already built in with your investors. So that's there. Now, why I came to that point is because you also started with your bootstrap money, right? A lot of people are not fortunate enough. Maybe YC would have done some mistake, right? By not selecting them. A lot of people are not funded by YC, for example. But yeah, your risk is minimum, and we can go to that topic. You
but
want that?
by the
Yeah,
way, I don't believe
yeah, tell me.
you have to be funded by YC to be successful.
Right,
Um, you can build amazing companies outside of YC, and YC is not everything.
right.
There's millions of examples of amazing companies started outside YC, like Google, Amazon, Facebook, SpaceX. Like, the list goes on and on. So if you're not accepted by YC, that's fine. Just keep building. Like, what matters is building.
But I have a little bit different. I'm not. I mean, you have a great point. YC as a good brand. Why you were telling is to make it interesting, Gabriel. If you're okay, right? Not like I'm disagreeing or I'm agreeing. It is a good point. You have a risk limited, but YC is also kind of a. They started somewhere and they built that media and visibility and brand name for themselves more than what they're supporting. Because as you said, you want to build Lobster Capital to be the best. So what are we doing is you are helping them, right? You are okay, media, why? Because you are helping them get the traction and get visibility and get connections. It's not just you invest and stop, but you give them 100 connections because it is your money at the end of the day also. That is the least you can do instead of working in the company. I mean, you are making it up, right? You play that small role to give that traction through media. Is that
Yeah.
what you
Yeah,
meant?
that's true. And I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm helping them because I'm promoting them.
yeah,
But to be honest, while I'm helping them, I'm also helping myself. I'm also
correct.
building a media company.
Yeah,
And, you know, I never said that I'll be investing in YC only my entire life.
yeah.
Maybe I will, but I don't know. I haven't committed for life to YC. I've committed to Lobster Capital, not even for life. I've committed to Lobster Capital for the next, for the foreseeable future and probably the next 10 or 20 or 30 years. But like,
Hmm.
so I'm helping them, but I'm also helping myself. And I don't want to pretend otherwise. It's obvious, I guess. But
Hmm.
you know, I believe they're doing something amazing for startups, and that's where I want to invest. And yeah, again, talking about them also helps me build Lobster Capital, and that's what I'm focused on.
Got it. So, Gabriel, let's go to the sector. We will wrap it up in 5 to 10 minutes. We started a little late. So, do you are you sector specific? Like, say, you invest on customer domain, marketing domain, or it's a horizontal AI tech kind of perplexity or open AI kind of stuff, which is
We're
innovation.
we're generalists, so we don't have a specific sector. We like to invest in startups growing extremely quickly that we're very excited about.
Okay.
Um, we don't invest in medtech and biotech just because I'm not a doctor and I don't understand it. We invest in tech in general,
Yeah.
as long as it's YC, as you know.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, we're generalists. If we're excited by the founders and the company and what they're doing, we'll invest in them.
So, yeah, coming to that point. So, what is the most important thesis except obviously the traction with the funding they have already got? Is that founder or innovation or like what are they? Do you have a scorecard, like say 5 to 10 points you do scoring and then you decide?
We do have a scorecard with a lot of things. I could get into all of them, but it's probably boring and too long. But
Yeah, keep in short, like what are the top
um,
three factors, right?
I'll tell
On
you the
what?
top two that
Yeah,
we
top
over index on, that we really are the most important. And the
hmm,
top two are team. So what's the
team.
pedigree, experience, where did they come from, etc. Like best teams.
Yeah,
And then early traction. So what's the traction that they generate? And traction tells you if there's product market fit, tells
yeah,
you if the team can build, can sell. So traction
yeah.
tells you a lot of things.
Hmm.
So those are the two that we over index on.
Okay.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of others, obviously, but those are the biggest.
Got it. Yeah. And so, yeah, we have had a great podcast till now. I just wanted to see what is the future, what is the future of Lobster? As you said, you have a mission to make it the best. Like, do you want to pivot the invest? Obviously, you might pivot, like just like any other startups, once you have that bandwidth. I mean, risk-taking ability. But do you also get scouts and when like or supporters for you from the startups you're funded? Like I see a lot of startups themselves, they support you, right? They're putting your logo and they support you. They give you more tips. Okay, it may not be a YC company, but they give you more visibility. Are you also in that path, or you want to be alone You want to build that brand yourself first without any partnership.
No, no, we're not alone, and we don't want to be. I mean, first of all,
Yeah.
I started this fund alone
Yeah.
2.5 years ago, but now I've built a team, and the team is growing, so we have more and more people,
Mm.
joining and helping because we do a lot of things, and we need a lot of hands. So
Right. Right.
we're expanding the team more and more,
Yeah.
and then yeah, we're looking for to collaborate with more and more people as well, if relevant. But what I'm really looking forward to with Lobster Capital is, we closed the first fund, oversubscribed, deployed it, and now we're raising a second fund. So we're gonna close our second fund pretty soon, and deploy that, and then repeat the cycle again. We're gonna go with the third and the fourth probably, but also really doubling down on our media. Our media
Mm.
is really growing quite well, and towards in the last few weeks, we've actually hit three major inflection points. I don't need to get
Mm.
into the details here, but we've hit three major inflection points on
Mm.
two different platforms, completely changing the trajectory of those platforms and
Yeah.
the visibility.
Yeah.
Um, so I just want to keep building there. It's I think like it's a massive advantage. I mean, we talked about it. I know you agree.
Oh,
I'm very excited there. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Keep building the media, keep building the fund,
yeah.
investing in amazing companies. And, I'm having a lot of fun. People say if you find a job that you like, you can
Mm.
outwork everyone because it's not
Yeah.
work to you, it's fun. So
Yeah.
I'm having the most fun probably that I've ever had in my life
Awesome.
building this. I'm really excited about it, really happy, really
Mm.
optimistic. But it's only 1% of the journey. I want to do the 99% remaining now.
Yeah, speaking about the media, I have a plan also to do a big conference actually in a couple of months.
Wow. Very cool.
Collaborate on that. We are having some discussion around it. Have a few media companies coming together. Obviously, I mean, media is that a brand or is that a bread and butter right now? Is it brand building or you want to make money out of? Obviously, it's capital business. It's not making money out of media, but is it the brand building?
Actually, we just signed our first sponsors for the media. We just signed our
Oh,
first sponsor.
then that's a
Yeah.
good.
So and I resisted it for a while, but then a
Hmm.
friend told me you just there's just money there to be taken, and you can reinvest it in the media. So I thought this made a lot of sense. So we
Yeah.
signed our first sponsor. Um, we're gonna reinvest that money into the media,
Okay.
and
That's a
we'll
good thing.
see. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, it is both. And when you said bread and butter, I didn't see it as earning money. I saw it as like daily life. Like it's bread and butter. It's what you do daily. And I was gonna say yes, it is both brand building, obviously, but it's also a daily thing for us. That's what we do every day. So
Yeah.
that's in this sense. I thought it's bread and butter, and now it's also making money, but it's not a profit center for us. Everything we're gonna make is gonna be reinvested. So yeah.
Yeah, it's not a profit center, as you said. Yeah, a lot of we are not like it's not like a big media company. It's I mean, obviously it can be one day when you're yeah, getting a lot of sponsorships, getting viral, and clearly like there's specifically you saw right that the media and the distribution is more than the innovation aspects. You don't want to do that also, right? I mean, you want to be balanced on your core business and build that media at the same time, which we are doing right now, and we will try to make propagate it. Do you have ideas around making some series in the future? We can. I am talking with few other VCs for sure. I had one VC and a few other from Europe. Feel free to recommend me. But do you feel like VCs networking within each other is the last few question before you go to the rapid fire? VCs networking within each other because anytime like somebody hosts a conference, there are 10 different VCs who are coming to see the or hear the pitch. Is that a competition or is that a collaboration? I feel it's a collaboration. A lot of feel, okay, why do I expose one brand to 10 different brands? I feel it's a collaboration. What do you feel?
It depends. It it's both. Um, Depends on the funds and the thesis. Like some funds you don't compete with at all, so you can just collaborate. Some funds you do compete with, and then depends on some people. Some people are more collaborative. Some people are less.
Uh,
But yeah, sometimes it could be fierce competition. I've seen that as well. Yeah.
fierce competition within the VCs, you mean
Oh
to
yeah.
say?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah,
Because
that happens.
yeah, that happens. But the person who is more visible is obviously they have to distribute. I mean, it's like a chicken and egg problem. In order to distribute, you have to be open, and for that, you have to collaborate with a lot of other VCs as well. Like, I don't know your relationship with YC or it's formal or not, but you kind of taking that advantage what YC has done a lot of pre-work on, right? So, I mean, I'm just thinking loud. I feel collaboration is more important than competition, or else because
I
there are
agree.
thousands of
I
companies.
agree. I mean, Silicon Valley is a very open ecosystem.
Yeah,
People will welcome you. People will open you their door. People will see you for a meeting if you ask them. So it is overall a very collaborative ecosystem. And I'm just saying it's not perfect. There's still some competition somewhere. But yeah,
yeah,
overall it's a very open ecosystem. Very different from Europe where I'm from. Yeah.
very different from Europe. Okay, okay, yeah. No, I mean throughout US it's like that. I believe. I mean it's a that's why we are all here. I mean it's an open economy. Anybody who's doing good, you'll get a support, and there is
Exactly.
always a competition and your theses and conflict of interest, whatever you say. A lot of people tell those words, throw those conflict of interest everywhere. But it's like you cannot do everything. When you go to media, it's you have to be open, and you are doing great thing here, right? So some YC, I mean, some VC might tell, okay, if I open up and everybody notices both of us, so it's a win-win, as you said. It's a win for you, win for anybody who is talking with you. That's how we see it. Say, I collaborate with you, and we collaborate on a conference. There'll be hundreds of other VCs also coming, hundreds of other partners also coming, and they know you, and tomorrow anybody can support you. Anybody, I mean, it's that's what I feel, and we need to see that when you're growing as a ecosystem, because anybody who is visible, who has the value, will always be at the top. It's not by hiding or suppressing anyone in the game. But yeah, definitely liked Gabriel talking with you. I'll have a last round. Generally I do that,
Sure.
as a kind of rapid fire. Already I asked few questions in between on that front, but yeah, let me take a yeah, grab at it. So, what is the red flag you spot in under say 30 seconds while talking with a founder and you don't proceed with a call?
Oh, I don't know actually. I like that question. Red
It may
flag
not
in
be a YC company when you started initially investing.
yeah,
Yeah,
red
so
flag in 30 seconds. I mean, there's one thing that I
since
see
you're
that
listening, just like you're listening to me, you are listening, but you really don't want to collaborate as an investor, maybe as a friend, not as an
yeah, yeah,
investor.
yeah. I mean, many no, there's a lot of things. Sometimes I have very specific list of criteria. So if it doesn't match whatever I'm looking for, I know right away. Like I give you an example. Today I only invest in YC. So if the company starts pitching, it's not YC. Like, but I also only invest in the US. And so if the company starts pitching me for, another country, I'm like, that's not my thing. But before that, I'll tell you something more interesting, something funny. I think. Well, funny maybe not the right word, but a red flag that I saw a lot is people who wait for the funding to get started. So people tell me, okay, it's built, it's ready. As soon as I get the money, then I'll start selling it and it's going to explode. But right now, I haven't started anything. I'm just waiting to raise. That's a red flag for me. Like you should be selling right now, with or without the fundraise.
Yeah,
But a lot of people just think investors' money is going to solve everything, and that's not true.
correct. Okay, yeah, that's the difference between pre-seed and seed. By the way, I mean, in pre-seed, a lot of people don't start. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. And so you invest basically in seed companies or pre-seed also with the.
No, it's seed because we come in when they already have revenue. So it's a seed round. Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the other question. Basically, so what is that which is the best trait of a founder that you bet on, except obviously the product, the innovation capability? What is that in the founder you see? Like the drive the media
It's
attention.
grit and resourcefulness.
Great and awesome, awesome. Same thing I talked with one other VC. That grit is a very important word. I mean, capability, I believe, for VCs right now, right? The grit means how do you define grit? Is like working longer time or unstoppable, talking. They
Yeah,
never.
despite hardships, just keep going, being, I don't know, always motivated and willing to fight and not take no for an answer, or take no for an answer, but keep going, finding other ways and stuff like that. Yeah. Grit and then resourcefulness, which probably goes together. Just figuring things out, finding solutions always.
Awesome, 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 awesome answer there. And what is that one valuation you wish you'd agree to in hindsight? Like what is that valuation you agree that okay, this is what I am aiming for? Like valuation in terms of doubling, tripling, or there is nothing like that. I mean, you're taking a risk. So is that a probability, a
When
number?
we invest, I mean, we want every company to return our fund. So we have around 50 portfolio companies in our fund. So we want the company to be at least a 50x, at least. And if it can be more, then it's gonna, if it's 100x, it returns the fund twice. If it's a
Hmm.
200x, it returns the fund four times. But yeah, we want at least to return the entire fund every investment. So we're around 50 portfolio companies, so that's around a 50x per investment.
50x. Oh, awesome, awesome. So you have like say 5 million and you have divided that into 50 companies, you mean to say?
50 million.
Okay.
We're raising our second fund.
Oh,
50 million.
your second is 50 million.
Yeah,
Okay.
50 million.
Last was on, I forgot, it was 12 million?
First was 12. Yeah.
12 million. Okay. So 50 companies for 50 million, you'll be raising around 1 million per company and you want
No,
to.
that's less because you have management fees from the fund
Yeah.
and reserve for follow-ons.
Okay. Okay. So that's less. So what is your ticket size, Gabriel?
500k. 500k.
500 is generally what. And YC generally invests for 7%, 7 to 10%, 7% maybe.
Yeah.
So
500k for 7%. It's actually a little bit more complicated than that because there's one part in safe, one part in MFN. But just to make it easy for everyone to understand, it's roughly 7% and 500k. Yeah.
you do the same. You obviously have to do the same because YC, you're taking YC companies. You match their investment.
I mean, it's the same round. It's not the same terms. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Yeah. So why I was saying like, yeah, the valuation is important. What you have in mind and what is the term sheet you're signing. You have something in mind before you even invest. Okay. The third point is what is the bigger mistake you do? Overvaluing or undervaluing? Say I can. How do you value a company first of all? Because see, for example, I'll give you my example. Right. I have funding at showing 100 million valuation without revenue, right? I mean, revenue is there with the alliances you have. It's not just about revenue again. If you have alliance, obviously there will be revenue, there will be traction. If there is an alliance, you have a commitment. So do you sometimes undervalue? I mean, if the founder undervalue, it is good for you. I mean, because
Yeah.
you're working on that.
we
What is
we
your
listen, we're not very valuation sensitive.
okay?
Uh, there's a limit. Like we don't invest at any valuation, but we're not very valuation sensitive. When you're a seed investor, you have to decide: do I want to invest at that price, or do I want to miss that company? If you believe that company can be a $10 billion exit, then
Hmm.
investing at 10 million, 20 million, or 30 million valuation doesn't change much. I mean, it's better to invest at a lower price. But if
Yeah.
you think it's going to be a 10 billion valuation and the only way to get in is to get in today at 30, then
Yeah.
the good decision is to get in today at 30.
Right, yeah. And that's why you're there, right? It's early stage fund, just like YC is, and to go in early. Yeah. Awesome answer. And last question. What do you see first when you're uh, listening to a pitch? People or the product? You said team and traction are important. Like, but what is the most important? Team
I
or
mean,
the
you see the people first, because you have an interaction.
hmm,
For us, because we research the companies before, so we see the product first. But then when you jump on the call, you see the people first, because they're the one talking to you.
Right, right. Because nowadays a product can be built, I can have ideas. It's all about the person executing that idea, right? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, end of the day, you can ideas are time until it is executed. Right. So awesome. Gabriel, I think it was fun talking with you. I will obviously collaborate and we'll talk
Thank you.
more. We'll set up some time, Gabriel. I'm just stopping the recording. I mean, it was really long. I have to also go out
Thank you
here.
so much. I had a blast. That was great.